Hey there, nice to meet y'all. Welcome to my channel. Today, with me and my beautiful sick husky voice, I'm going to try to discuss the topic of pronouns with regards to being bigendered. Pronouns, like gender, are something that most people don't really ever have to think too terribly much about. If you're a cis female and people use she, her, hers with regards to you, there's no problem. If you're a cis male and people say he, him, his, you don't think twice about it. It's not something that ever pops into your head as to something you have to think about. But if you're trans, it's something you think about a lot. And passing is something that becomes extremely important. And the pronouns that people use with regards to you sort of come to dictate your life in a sense, because what pronouns people use when they're talking about you determine whether or not you've passed the test, so to speak. And people believe that you are the gender that you are portraying. When it comes to bigenderism, it's not really as black and white as he and she and so on and so forth. And if you're bigender and watching this, you know what I mean. Gender for people like us is very fluid. It's not something that's consistent on a day-to-day basis. Maybe for a stretch of time, maybe it switches over the course of the day. It depends on how it works for you. For me, it's usually a day-to-day thing, or there might be blocks of time where it's one way or the other. But in either case, it becomes extremely difficult to figure out what to tell people to call you. At my university, I luckily am friends with a large group of people who take the time to ask, what are your pronouns? But with that sort of open-mindedness comes a new problem. Which ones do you say? Since I've turned 18 and I've been in uni, I've been experimenting with using male pronouns and being a little bit more androgynous and seeing where that journey takes me exactly. I've been in boy mode a lot more recently than in the past, mostly just because I think I've finally come to acknowledge that there are two sides of me and that I'd like to explore it further. I did sort of make the decision to use male pronouns, at least for the time being. So with all of my friends, they make the effort to say he, him, his, and in one of my classes, I'm out in the sense that they know, I think they know, that my sex isn't male, but that I use male pronouns, and so they do. But they're also like, they've never asked me about it. Nobody in that class has asked me about it, so they just sort of try not to use pronouns. But when they do use male because my professor uses male pronouns, which was a whole other barrel of wax. And I believe that I have a video on my collab channel, Golden State Boulevard. Just, to encourage you to check that out. For the most part, I think that pronouns when you're bigender are sort of a difficult thing, and ultimately it comes down to your personal preferences. As I said, I don't like to cause a big fuss, so I'm choosing to stick with male pronouns for the time being. But I do think that if you are so inclined, that you should be encouraged to challenge the gender binary and switch back and forth whenever you feel like it, and to tell people to switch back and forth. I think that there's nothing wrong with that. And I also think that it is a way to, in a sense, validate bigenderism versus transgenderism. Being bigender and being trans are not the same, and I think that people don't know that because bigenderism is one of those things where, like bisexuality, it seems like you're fencing it, and I'm bigender, so I know it's not a fencing issue. It's not like I'm on the verge of being trans and I'm gonna live my life as a man all the time. And I also know that for bisexual people, it's not a matter of, oh, well, I'm really gay or I'm really a lesbian, but I just haven't quite made that commitment yet. It's not like that at all. And so I know that committing to one set of pronouns can be frustrating because you don't feel like they always fit. And so I guess the point of the video is just to say that don't let what other people say dictate which ones you use. Your pronouns are as personal to you as your name, and people change their names. I've changed my name legally. It's something that is available for you to do, and I think that if society acted on more of a sliding scale, they would be happier, because I think gender dictates a lot of the problems that we have. There would be no such thing as gay marriage if there was no such thing as gender. It would just be marriage, for example. Or the bathroom situation. You wouldn't have to fuss about which bathroom to go to if there was only one bathroom. Slight tangent, but you should choose the pronouns that you're the most comfortable with at any given time. And if that fluctuates a lot, I'd say go ahead and go for it, and don't worry about what anybody else says, because your gender expression is nobody else's business, but you being comfortable with yourself is your business. And it can involve other people, and you having to, inform them of what to call you, and it is awkward and it is uncomfortable, and that's just kind of the way that it is. And unfortunately, because of the way that society operates, it is going to always be awkward and uncomfortable, potentially. So just be prepared for that, but don't let that stop you from portraying yourself the way that you want to, and having people address you the way that you feel like you deserve to be addressed. And if that flip-flops within 25 minutes and you're comfortable telling people to switch back, I would say do it. And even though it can be dysphoric and awful and all of those other things, it can be a lot of fun too. Gender expression is something that can be fun. People need to tap into that more. So don't let pronouns be the thing that stops you from expressing yourself the way that you want to. Live your life. Hey. Have fun.